9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
The attack came without warning, and according to a U.S. government source, told CBS News that it has Middle East terrorism written all over it.
The attack in Oklahoma City appears to have a familiar mark.
This was done with the attempt to inflict as many casualties as possible. That is a Middle Eastern trait.
The fact that it was such a powerful bomb in Oklahoma City immediately drew investigators to consider deadly parallels that all have roots in the Middle East.
ABC News has learned that the FBI has asked the U.S. military to provide up to 10 Arabic speakers to help in the investigation.
Within hours of the explosion, local police and the FBI had issued the all-points bulletin looking for 3 men believed to be of Middle Eastern origin.
And sources tell CBS News that unofficially, the FBI is treating this as a Middle Eastern-related incident.
Oklahoma City, I can tell you, is probably considered one of the largest centers of Islamic radical activity outside the Middle East.
Hey everyone, my name is Nofi Yanti and welcome to this episode of Global Perspective. Today we are going to talk about Orientalism, a concept that has shaped the way the West views the East of our countries. You might have some cross-exotic image of the Middle East already in books, movies, or news, but have you ever wondered where those images come from and what impact they have? Let's discuss together. Orientalism originally described Western scholars who studied the Orient, the term broadly referring to parts of Asia, the Middle East, and North Africa. The scholars documented language, histories, and cultures. However, their work was not neutral. It was shaped by the political context of European colonialism and by assumption of Western superiority. European powers such as Britain and France used knowledge of the East to justify their imperial ambitions. They portrayed the East as exotic, backward, and in need of Western guidance. The division created a powerful narrative of us versus them. This was not just an academic theory, it influenced how governments ruled colonies, and how wars were fought, and how people in the West viewed entire cultures. One of the key points is that Orientalism is discourse or a way of thinking and speaking that shape reality. It is not just about false image, but about power. When the West defines the East, it controls the narrative and the politics that follow. Said's book is divided into several sections that examine how Orientalism shaped the production of knowledge. In the first section, he explains how Western powers constructed a framework of knowledge about the Orient, often emphasizing exoticism and difference to strengthen power. In subsequent chapters, Said examines how literature, art, and academia perpetuate stereotypes with examples from writers such as Gustave Flaubert and Lord Byron, whose works romanticized and distorted Eastern culture. These ideas have real-world consequences. For example, stereotypes about the Middle East as a violent or irrational region continue to influence media and policy today. So how do we move beyond Orientalism? It starts with being aware of our own biases and questioning the stories we hear. That is listening to the voices of the East itself, not just hearing them through Western eyes. Orientalist stereotypes are still evident in popular culture and news media. Films often depict the East as a land of danger or mysticism, while news coverage introduces complex societies, the simple narratives of conflict or oppression. These depictions shape public perceptions and reinforce biases. They also obscure the rich diversity and roles of the people who live in the region. Nowadays, many scholars, artists, and activists from the region are reviving their narratives, offering more nuanced and authentic perspective. In short, Orientalism is more than just an academic term. It is a powerful lens through which the West historically views and represents the East. Edward Said, groundbreaking critic, reveals and how these representations are not neutral but deeply intertwined with political power, colonialism, and cultural domination. Post-colonial studies, inspired by Said's work, emphasize the self-reflexivity of scholars who must consider their own positionality and the dynamics of power in the production of knowledge. This approach fosters respect, complexity, and intercultural dialogue. In a globalized, a digital world, Orientalism continues to thrive. Some Arab intellectuals use Orientalist tools to reconstruct their own history and identity, transforming a legacy of domination into a legacy of empowerment. Understanding Orientalism helps us recognize the stereotypes and biases that still influence media, politics, and public perception today. More importantly, it challenges us to question this narrative and seek out the diverse and authentic voices of the culture themselves. By moving beyond Orientalism, we can cultivate respect, empathy, and more accurate understanding of the diverse people and histories that matter in our interconnected world. That's all for me. Thank you for joining me to explore Orientalism, a concept that challenges us to rethink the way we feel the world and each other. If you found this episode helpful, please subscribe and share. Let's keep asking, learning, and listening. I'm Nofi, and this is A Global Perspective. Bye bye.